Hello YouTube. Right, before we start, take it easy on me, because this is my first video. I know I've got a deep voice, and I sound like a farmer. I've been told this many a times. Anyways, I'm Jay from thepaintedmen.com. I've recently opened up my own tattoo studio. We're based in Lincolnshire, in England. It's one of the biggest counties in England, but also the least known. I've decided to build my own coil winding jig, as I can't find a decent one anywhere. There's a few electronic ones I've found on the market, but they're quite expensive, and to me they're just too powerful for the job in hand. I've seen one or two hand winders on a popular auction site, but they didn't look up to the job either. So here's a quick guide on how I built my jig. I got pretty much everything I needed from around the workshop, so without going on too much, here's the video. So basically all we need, some 5 and 10mm bolts, some nuts as well to go on them, just stand and get them from pretty much anywhere. Any decent DIY shop. Got some washers as well to go along with them. Again, nothing special. Got a rubber cork. Get these from most DIY shops. I got this one from Wilco's. That's a UK shop. Not sure about America. Probably get it from Home Depot. I think everyone gets all the stuff from over there. It's just a bolt that I've sheared down to a probably about 2.5mm. You'll see why later. Again, just some random screws that I had laying around. Got an iron core there, which we're going to wrap onto later on in the video. And then this is an old car wing mirror. Basically drilled 2 holes in the bottom, whacked a couple of bolts through there, and you'll see later where that goes. So the main part of the mechanism is actually going to be the winder itself. Now I've got an old fishing reel here. You can go forwards, but it won't go backwards, so that will come in quite handy later on. You'll also notice that this part there spins around as well. The whole top half's going to come off, and we're just going to keep the bottom half basically. Now I've already undone this because the thread's about 10 miles long, and it'll just take too long to faff around with. Top should come off nice and easy. And we've got a bolt there that needs undoing. Just get a 12mm spanner. Loosen that, and that should come off nice and easily. Like that. Pull that off. And the actual mechanism, you'll see that it's nice and simple. This little piece of plastic wedges in between there, and that's what stops it from turning the other way. So the first thing we're going to do now is put something on here to stop the mechanism from falling off. Because if that fell off, basically the whole system won't work. So we're going to whack the washers over, get this bolt that we took off earlier, and basically screw that on. Like that. Get nice and tight so it don't come undone. Shouldn't come undone now. Once that's on, you can see that that's not going anywhere. The reason I've selected washers is because I've got that many of them. Could have just put a bit of wood or metal in there, anything to stop it. And as you can see now, the mechanism inside works a charm, goes forward, don't want to go backwards. So what we're going to do next is set the handle mechanism apart. I'm going to undo this thread here, which I've already loosened. Take this part out here. As you can see, obviously there's a threaded part in there for this to screw in. We're basically going to be putting this back together, and instead of putting this in, we're going to replace it with a bolt that I've made to go straight in, stick out a few centimetres, so we can then screw the iron core onto that. So all I've basically done is got a 5mm bolt. I've cut the head off it, and I've sanded one half of it down, and all I've basically done is use a tap and die set to put a new thread on the sanded down bit, because obviously that would have been too big for this hole, and if I'd have sanded the whole bar down, that would have been too small for the iron core. So we needed half and half, basically. Half to fit this, and then half to fit the actual core that we're going to be winding on. So basically we're going to put a nut on here like this. And that should screw in here like that. Get it nice and tight. The reason I'm putting a nut in there is so it don't screw in too far. Take another nut, give it a bit more protection. Add one more. Basically all we want to do now is tighten that. So it don't fall off when we're winding. There we go, that's that. Now once that's on, the iron core that we'll be winding onto later should wind onto there nice and easily. There we go, that's that. That's pretty much that part of the contraption done. As you see, when you wind this, the iron core spins around like that, and you try and go the other way, it just locks up. So you'll see why that's good later on in the video. You'll also notice that I've already pre-drilled 2 holes in the back of this, ready to mount onto the old cupboard that I found. Now you can actually cut this off to stop that from like prodding you in the chest all the time, but if you actually want to use the fishing reel again, like I do, leave it on, because it'll only take 2 or 3 minutes to take all this off and put the old reel back together basically, so you know, it's still usable. So what we're going to do now is mark off, drill your holes where you want this item to be mounted. I've already done that, as you can see. Just basically going to use them screws that I showed you earlier to whack through these holes. So we've got some nuts, some washers. We can get them off the table. There we go. Now I'm going to go underneath the table to attach these. I'm sure you know how to do this, so I won't bother recording the next bit. So what we're going to do now, we're going to take the old car wing mirror, drill 2 holes just there, as you can see. Another hole here, that's for the wire to go down, you'll see later on in the video. Put that there like that. Couple of washers, nuts, just there. Again, going to go under the table. Right, so now that's mounted, you can actually take a spool of wire that we'll be using, pop that through there like that. There we go. Take this rubber cork. I've already pre-drilled a hole. That will go on there. It's quite a struggle, but it will go on. I've drilled a hole just there, and I've also drilled a hole through there. Now basically, once the rubber cork has gone through like that, I'll use this bolt to put through there to keep it in place, and basically that'll keep the spool nice and tight, and I'll show you that working when I've fitted that. Right, we now fitted the rubber cork. As you can see, that is nice and tight now on there, so that's going to cause loads of drag when we're winding. So just to recap, all we've basically got is an old cupboard. We've got the fishing spool just there, which we've converted. We've got the bobbin of copper wire just there, which is now mounted. So basically all I'm going to do next is put some wooden bars down there for the cable to run around to give us a bit more drag. The more drag the better, because it'll give us a nice tight wind on the iron core. So basically a wire will be coming out of here through the hole. Now the hole is actually going to be a lot longer, so there's no place for the wire to catch. Basically it's going to go down there onto the second shelf, and like I just said, I'm going to mount some wooden bars around here, basically zigzag it, and then up through this wire here, this hole here, onto the iron core. So when we wind that, we'll be basically winding the whole system. So I've got the broom handles in, as you can see, nice and tight. Bolts are, that is, not going to come loose. I've actually threaded the copper cable down, around the bottom, across the top, back up through that hole, actually onto the iron core. So now, as you can see, when we pull that, it's winding around there nicely. The old spool's moving nicely. So, you know, it's basically working, it's doing its job. I'm not going to carry on winding this, I'm going to leave that for another video, but you basically get the gist now, so, I mean, that's pretty much it. So, I hope that helped you out. Like I said, it's my jig. You know, a lot of you may prefer other systems. Just thought I'd like to share my idea, that's all. Yeah, please rate the video, leave your comments. You know, keep tuned. Next few weeks I'll be doing some coil winding. I'll also be taking some cheap machines apart show you what's actually inside the cheap coils. You know, there's a reason there that some tattoo machines are cheap. You know, because the quality is poor, basically. Anyways, keep tuned. I hope you like the video.